I was standing in a police station, covered in blood that wasn't mine, with my ex-boyfriend's name still saved in my phone under home. That's how the day started. You'd think a day like that would end in handcuffs or maybe a hospital room, but no, somehow it ended with his hand in mine, out in the open, beneath a sky that had just stopped raining. I hadn't seen Marcus in over 2 years. Not since he disappeared from my life with nothing but a voicemail that said, "I have to go, don't look for me." I didn't. I tried to move on. Therapy, yoga, meaningless dates with men who said things like "I'm not into labels," but treated affection like a ticking bomb in public. Then this morning I got a call from his sister. "He's in trouble," she said, her voice shaking, "and you're the only one he asked for." I don't know why I didn't hang up. I don't know why I didn't scream at her for letting me grieve a ghost while she kept secrets. Instead, I was in an Uber before she even texted the address. The station smelled like sweat and wet paper. Marcus was sitting in a holding room, bruised, a small cut above his eye, and the second our eyes met, I stopped breathing. Not in that cliché butterflies in my stomach way, it was raw. Like my lungs forgot how to function around someone who had once been my entire world and then vanished without explanation. And yet, when the officer opened the door and told me he was free to go, Marcus didn't say a word. He just stood up, walked to me, and slid his fingers between mine like it was the most natural thing in the world. And the wildest part, I didn't flinch, I didn't pull away, I let him. Right there in front of two officers, a woman filing a restraining order and a teen sobbing over a lost phone, he held my hand. For the first time in public, and my world stopped, but it wasn't romantic, not yet, it was terrifying. Because what followed, what he whispered in the car as we drove off, made me realize that this was only the beginning of something so much darker than heartbreak. The car hummed beneath us as the city passed by in a blur of neon lights and jagged silhouettes. Marcus hadn't let go of my hand. He was gripping it like a lifeline, but I was the one who couldn't breathe. His skin felt too warm against mine, too familiar, too right after all this time. And yet there was a tension in the air, an unspoken weight that neither of us had ever discussed. I stole a glance at him, his jaw clenched, eyes fixed straight ahead. It was as though he was bracing himself for something that neither of us was ready for. The silence between us stretched like an elastic band, taut and about to snap. Then he broke it. "I didn't want you to find out like this," Marcus said, his voice low, almost afraid. "But it's happening again." My heart skipped. "What's happening again?" I asked, though I already knew. I'd known for months that something was wrong. The text messages he'd sent from untraceable numbers, the cryptic calls at odd hours. I'd never asked questions out of respect, maybe even fear. But now, with the weight of his hand still wrapped around mine, the truth was about to come crashing down. "I never wanted you involved, but it's bigger than us now," he continued, his eyes darting to mine for a brief second before looking away. His words hung in the air like smoke, and I could feel them curling around me. My pulse quickened, the fear that had been creeping up my spine now settling into my chest, making it hard to swallow. Marcus, the person I had once believed in, was no longer the person I remembered. The vulnerability in his face was gone, replaced with something darker, and in that moment I realized how badly I had missed him, not just his body, his touch, but his soul. But this, whatever this was something I hadn't signed up for. "You need to leave the city," he said finally, his voice cracking under the pressure. "And I need to disappear again. You're in danger now." His words didn't make sense. "Danger, Marcus, what are you talking about?" He turned to face me, his face taut with a tension I hadn't seen in years, and for the first time in all the years I'd known him, I saw something that wasn't fear, it was desperation. I was involved with something illegal. The kind of thing you can't walk away from without a price. I wanted to laugh, to make a joke, anything to break the terrifying intensity of his words, but I didn't. Instead, I just stared at him, waiting for him to continue, needing to hear more, but dreading what might come next. His eyes flicked toward me again, this time searching, almost pleading. "I thought I could walk away," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "But you don't just leave that kind of world, not without consequences." The weight of his words hit me like a cold wave, leaving me gasping for air. I had known Marcus as the kind of guy who lived in the margins, never fully committing to any one thing, too much of a free spirit, too wild to be contained by anyone or anything. But this sounded like something out of a nightmare, not a life I'd ever imagined him in. "You're not making sense," I said, my voice trembling. "What are you involved in, Marcus? What are you saying? You didn't even tell me why you left, why you vanished 2 years ago." His lips parted as if he were about to speak, but he hesitated. The words didn't come easily, and I could see it in his eyes. He was afraid of what telling me might cost. "The people I got involved with," he finally said, "they aren't the kind of people you just walk away from. I thought I could vanish, start over somewhere else. But when I did, they followed me. They've been watching us ever since." The air in the car felt thick, suffocating. I turned my gaze out the window, trying to process the weight of what he was saying, but it felt like I couldn't catch my breath. Are you saying you dragged me into this, that this is my fault? I snapped, the frustration and fear bubbling up into anger. But instead of fighting back, Marcus's grip tightened on my hand, his thumb gently stroking my knuckles as if trying to reassure me. He shook his head slowly, a sorrowful expression taking over his face. I never wanted this for you. I didn't even want to come back into your life, but I had no choice. You have to understand, this is bigger than me, bigger than both of us. They know about us, and now if you stay, you're in danger. The truth hit me like a punch to the gut. The weight of his words was suffocating, and in that moment, it wasn't just the fear of what might come next, it was the sense of betrayal. The person I had once trusted with my entire heart was now telling me that everything about us, about our love, had been a lie, wrapped up in a package of secrets and broken promises. I couldn't speak for a long time, not because I didn't have questions, but because I was drowning in the sheer weight of it all. My mind was reeling, trying to make sense of the tangled mess of emotions and memories that had led to this moment. Marcus was a man I had once adored with every fiber of my being, a person whose touch I had once believed could heal any wound, and now his presence felt like a cruel illusion. How could he have hidden this? How could he have vanished from my life without a trace, and then come back not to love me but to drag me into a world I didn't belong in? I didn't want you to see this side of me, Marcus continued, his voice low and fragile as though admitting the truth was a kind of final surrender. His eyes searched mine, almost desperate for understanding. I didn't want to drag you back into this hell, but it's too late now. They've been tracking my every move, and the worst part, he paused, his face twisted in an agony that I hadn't seen since we first fell in love. They know who you are. My stomach dropped. A cold sweat broke out across my skin. What do you mean they know who I am? The words slipped out before I could stop them, but even as I asked, I already had a sickening feeling I wasn't going to like the answer. Marcus's face twisted in a way that made my heart ache. You're not safe. You weren't safe the second you picked up that phone this morning. I never meant for this to happen to you, but you're connected to me and now they're going to use you to get to me. I recoiled as though his words had physically struck me. Use me? You're telling me that I'm in danger because of you, after everything I've gone through to get over you, to move on, this is how you come back into my life. My voice cracked, my anger slipping into panic. I could feel the tears stinging my eyes, the tidal wave of betrayal threatening to break. But it wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was fear. Fear of losing everything again, of losing myself in a situation I couldn't control, couldn't escape. I had built my life back piece by piece after Marcus left, after everything he had put me through, and now he was telling me it was all for nothing, that he had dragged me back into his world of shadows, of danger, that the love I had so foolishly believed in was just a trap waiting to close around me again. I yanked my hand away from his, the air between us crackling with tension. I can't do this, Marcus, I can't, not again. He didn't flinch. Instead, he just looked at me with those broken, apologetic eyes, and for a moment I saw him again, the Marcus I had fallen in love with. But then the sharp edge of reality cut through and I realized it didn't matter anymore. There was no going back. I didn't know what to do. There was a time when everything I wanted had been so clear. I wanted Marcus. I wanted to believe in the love we had, the kind that made my heart race even when he wasn't near. But this was not love. This was a nightmare wrapped in the familiarity of his touch, the sound of his voice, the feel of his presence. I wanted to run, to disappear into the city's endless maze of streets, to leave him behind without a second thought. But the truth was I couldn't. I couldn't because his hands were still shaking, and though the world felt like it was crumbling around us, there was a part of me that still wanted him to hold me, to make everything feel okay. My mind screamed at me to walk away, to save myself from the inevitable spiral of chaos, but my heart was torn in two, beating for him even as I tried to break free. The car screeched to a halt at a red light, and for the briefest of moments, we were silent again. Then Marcus turned to face me, his eyes hardening with a resolve I hadn't seen before. If you leave now, they'll find you, he said, his voice fierce, urgent. I won't let them hurt you. They know about us. They know about you. He exhaled slowly, as though the words were suffocating him. I'm trying to protect you, even if it means I have to lose you. And in that instant, something inside of me broke wide open. The fear, the anger, the shame of it all, everything melted away, leaving just a raw, painful truth. We were both prisoners of a life neither of us had chosen. We were bound together not by love but by a mess of mistakes, desperation, and the consequences of actions far beyond our control. And yet, as the light changed and the car lurched forward, I made a decision. It wasn't a rational one, nor was it a safe one, but I didn't care. I wasn't ready to let go, not yet. I reached out for his hand again, this time with a steadiness that surprised even me. Then we do this together, I said, my voice steady, stronger than it had been in weeks. No more running, no more hiding. If this is the hell you're in, then I'm in it with you, but you have to promise me one thing. Marcus turned to me, his eyes wide with surprise, his grip tightening around my fingers. Anything, he whispered. Promise me you'll never let go again, I said, my heart hammering. Promise me, Marcus, because I can't live like this anymore, not without you, not like this. The car sped through the city, and for the first time in what felt like forever, the chaos outside matched the storm inside me. But even through the terror, even through the fear, I realized one thing: maybe this wasn't the love story I had imagined, but it was the one I needed. It was the one that had found me in the most unexpected, unimaginable way. And as Marcus squeezed my hand tighter, a small spark of hope ignited deep inside me. Maybe, just maybe, we could find our way out of this mess. And together,